Many-Face Publishing, man. Back. Is Jake Paul bad for boxing? My personal opinion, I don't think he's bad for boxing. I actually think what he's doing is bringing a lot of awareness to the sport and the malfunctions that actually happen in boxing. Do I think fighters are hating on him? No. I don't think fighters are hating on him. I think fighters just don't like, the process and the way about what he's doing. And it makes a mockery and a circus of the actual competitiveness of the sport of boxing. But what he's showing you is that people just want to see a show. They just want to see boxing, right? So, what people fail to realize is Jake Paul is he's a young white American, and there's not too many Americans that really are relevant in boxing that are besides Caleb Plant. It's a handful of fighters that are really relevant in the sport of boxing. So, when they see a guy that, and it's not that he can't fight, he fights, he can train. And he's been training for a long time, so it's not like he can't box or he can't fight. The kid can fight. I think people, when you look at the other fighters, right? Fighters are like, look, they even put blood, sweat, and tears into this. They done came up through the amateurs, through the ranks, started from the bottom, and they're not getting to the level that Jake Paul has gotten to. And that's what I mean by making a mockery of the sport. Not a mockery of the fighters themselves, but or like, I don't want to really use the word mockery like he just mocking the sport purposely, but I think what he's doing is he's doing things in a different way that's unconventional. And to see him do that, and then the level of competition that he's doing it against, and he's making a lot of money, and he's making a name for himself, and fighters are out here risking it all, dedicating their lives to the sport of boxing, and they're seeing this guy, he's going in there, he's beating basketball player, he's beating up ex UFC fighters that are retired or past their prime or whatever, and they're not really boxers, they're strikers, even though they're licensed fighters. His gimmick is, well, I don't have an amateur background, I'm not a true professional boxer, but I am trained in boxing, so it's like an even playing field. But these guys, are striking and boxing is two different things. When you're training boxing, you're in the everyday practicing combinations, footwork, things like that that are specific for boxing. These guys, MMA fighters, are training for the mat. They're training they're striking his elbows, kicks, punches, headbutts. That's more of what their elements are. You know what I'm saying? Like, not saying they don't have a slight background, a little bit of, because it does require you to box and a little bit, but they're not training boxing the way Jake Paul is, 24 hours a day. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're gonna get on the ground and the mat, they gotta defend takedowns. Their sport is totally different. So it's not really a fair situation when it comes to the skill level. But so guys are not looking at him fight. He fought one guy, Tommy Fury, who actually boxed professional and is slightly active, and he struggled in that fight and he lost. We haven't seen him fight a live wire yet. And guys that that are still active in the sport, like I said in the previous video, even if he fights like Andre Ward, even though he came into the Tyson fight heavier, I don't want to. He's gonna have to stay a fight guys. Guys gonna have to willing to probably fight him, being a little bit heavier, because I don't want to see him come down and then use that as an excuse. Well, I had to drop all this weight and all that. Nah, I want to see you. Maybe you could fight Big Bang Zane. you know, something like that. Or the guy that beat Jared Anderson, maybe fight Jared Anderson. You know, those guys are like, you know, because you came in and you fought Tyson at heavyweight, y'all both weighed over 228 pounds. You know, and if you're a real fighter and a real boxer, you know what I'm saying, like, that should be probably, you should be headed towards an opponent like that. And I think that's what the boxers are saying. Like, you know, when you gonna get in here with somebody that's not a gimmick, or not somebody like Tyson was. Even though Tyson was almost 60, I think Tyson was gonna go in there, right? I don't want to say it was scripted. I think it was definitely a situation where they weren't trying to hurt each other. I'm gonna say that again. 14-ounce gloves, 2-minute rounds. It was favoring more to, you know, because Tyson is almost 60 and Jake Paul is younger than him and he's active. Tyson's not an active boxer. You know, he looks good in training when nobody's throwing punches back. And when you're getting them lights and you really got to perform and the guy's really throwing punches at you, it's a different ballgame. And I feel like Tyson, you know, once, I think he was going to give it his all out there. But then when he seen that kid, like I said before, that kid was moving around the ring, he was quick. You know, Tyson, you know, he got bad legs. His legs didn't look too sturdy out there the whole night. But for him to go to 8 rounds was very good. Even though we felt like Jake Paul took the gas off, you know, Tyson, you know, once he seen he couldn't really catch him, I think he just was like, you know what, I'm gonna go in survival mode. You know, Jake, I don't think he realized too, like, that's Tyson. You know, I can't do that and destroy the legacy. So he showed a little mercy. But I don't think they both were going in there to intentionally hurt each other, like I said in my previous video. Some people think the fight was scripted and rigged, and Tyson might have held back. I think he held back more of, you know, not wanting to really get counted like that and get, you know, caught with a good shot and get embarrassed. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I think more. Like, Tyson was just trying to prove to himself. I believe when he says that, I wanted to prove to myself that I can go out there and do this. You know, I don't think he really went out there to try to win. But for people to say that Jake Paul is bad for boxing, like I said, I disagree with that. But I feel like, you know, now the gig is up. You know, you done fought several MMA fighters. You done fought, like, guys that don't really, you know, have boxing backgrounds. You fought Anderson Silva. Like I said, he's another, falls into that category, retired. You know, he's not really a true boxer like that, even though he has a boxing background. He ain't boxing 24/7. Now, you know, why fighters are angry, I feel like they want to see you in there with a live wire. We're not going to pay, even though this fight was free, people are not going to continue to tune in to see you fight guys that you're going to have distinct advantages against. So I don't think it has anything to do with people hate, like, we hate Jake Paul, we don't like him, and, you know, I don't think it's necessarily that. I think it's more like, you know, they're looking at the mockery that's being made of the competition and how he's and they put all this work in and they're not being able to achieve the numbers the way that he is. Got to remember also, like I said earlier in this video, it's a young white kid, you know, who's, you know, social media influencer, and he's brought his following to the sport, and he's done a great job marketing. So he's done a hell of a job, man. We can't take that from him. But on the flip side, guys are like, oh, look, time for you to step this competition up if you want to keep people interested in tuning into your fights. Even though his fan base is going to tune in, you know, now it's like, you know, come on, everybody's know this gimmick. We know you're going to win. Let's see you fight a real fighter, a live wire. Now, let's see who he fights in his next fight. Will you fight a live wire? And are some of these guys willing to take a disadvantage, like a David Benavidez or Andre Ward? You know that this guy's coming in to fight heavier from Jake Paul. You know, maybe you may fight a heavyweight, you know, or at least go to a cruiserweight and fight there. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see him drop down too far and then the weight depleted. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think he's bad for the sport. I just think that boxing is malfunctioned and it's not doing justice to the fighters because there's too many different promotions, too many different networks going on, and we're not getting the fights that we need to see, man. They're not doing business, man. And it's like, you know, guys are trying to do this Mayweather thing where they're trying to milk this. I don't even think Mayweather was really milking it. Mayweather made it to a certain level, and then he was able to, you know, to go on cruise control from there forth. These guys haven't made it to that level to go on cruise control. They want to go on cruise control right away. And I'm not saying they don't put the work in, but you know, you gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like, you guys gotta fight each other, man. We need to see more fights against each other. And, you know, just because you lose doesn't take away your marketability, man. Canelo's lost. People still watch him fight. Tyson is lost. People still watch him fight. You know, De La Hoya lost. People still watch him fight. So I don't think it's about really, I think it's the malfunctioning of these promoters and stuff like that are not making these fights happen. And you know, they and that's why I said I don't like pay-per-view for boxing too much, because now guys are just striving to get pay-per-view fights, and then once they get pay-per-view, they feel like, oh, I won a belt or two, and now on pay-per-view. I think that that's the wrong approach. I think that when you have pay-per-view and you ask somebody to pay, you need the right dance partners. And some of these guys are not picking equal dance partners. Nobody wants to see mismatches and they're paying for it. But anyways, that being said, man, Manyface Publishing, I'm out. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.